Hi, we have a fourth line day. We're in gate 44 in the fourth line. I was thinking the other day, it's a good thing there isn't like 66 gates, because then we'd have 66 in the sixth line and nobody would want that line at all. But the 44 line 4 is called honesty. We're in the upper trigram. And the moment we get to the upper trigram, we really get to some powerful potential. The fourth line is transpersonal by nature, and this fourth line is able to externalize the gift of alertness in order to be able to manipulate the ego for tribal benefit. This is really important. It's not personal, and it's not manipulation exclusively for the benefit of the ego, because it's not coming out of the ego. This is how the 44 tricks the 26. It makes the 26 feel like it's the most important thing in the world, when in fact doing that to the 26 makes sure that everybody else benefits. You pump up that ego and you get better salespeople. They do a better job. They put on a better image. They become better transmitters. Egos have to be massaged. You always have to tell them that they're doing a good job. The 26th gate is the gate of denial. It says, I don't need you manipulating me. You need me. If I don't sell your product, you're the one that they're going to fire. No? So if the 44 can break through that denial, then they're a master. And they cannot do it unless it's transpersonal, because the rest of it is just really difficult. In the lower trigram, you're just keeping control of yourself so that you don't get manipulated by the ego that you have to work with. The fourth line has its direct resonance to the first line. Due to that resonance, you know that being a people manager is a deep theme that already matured by the time you get to the fourth line. The fourth line is an externalization line, and therefore it has a single track. It's very fixed, deeply fixed on one aspect. And this aspect is called honesty. The lifetime learning says, feed the blackbird or it's going to come in here and peck your eyes out. One moment, caller. There you go. The lifetime learning says the refusal to engage in hypocritical interaction. These are people whose management style is considered to be straightforward and very direct. The exaltation says indifference at its most logical and cutting. The indifference possible when guided by instinctive memory. The indifference to the needs of that individual. This is taking the people manager resonance from the first line. Now, there's a deep indifference to all this stuff about having to work really hard to make sure that the other is comfortable with all of this. By the time you get to the fourth line, you know that there is something on the other side of the channel, and the only way the fourth line is able to work with them is that it has to be direct with them. To be indifferent to the ego is the best way to manipulate it. This is the power of the 44, even when it's wrong, because there's no guarantee that it's going to be correct in its externalizing. It's only going to be correct if that 44 is living out their nature. We always have to come back to that, because that's the point, through genetic continuity, every one of these aspects only operates properly if the whole operates properly. Everything is linked. And as long as you do not operate properly in one area, then none of the linkage operates properly. And you can't cherry pick it. You can't think, oh, okay, well, I really like the 59, so I'm going to work with my 59 and be correct around my 59 and forget about the rest of your design. Forget about responding or waiting for invitations because then nothing will work if you're not. And that very basic thing, of course, is the thing that has to work first and foremost. Type, strategy, and authority. That's what it always comes back to. So the 44-4 is saying, I see that productivity is going down. Okay, we need to give you a little bit of an extra massage. We will put your picture in the company magazine, and how about a little bonus? You could have that parking place that you like that's nearer the door. In return, you have to go out there and do something. So the detriment, the sun in detriment, that in extreme situations, in cases of self-sustainment, will expect assistance from forces it has totally rejected. Here, the honesty is a genuine need, the sacrifice of indifference for survival. So you want to do business with someone, and as a fourth line being, you are very direct and you say, look, I'm not in the blackbird business, I'm in the squirrel business, so please go away. And then 2 years later, you discover, well, you quite want to get into the blackbird business, and you call up those very people that you rejected, and you can actually say to them, why don't you come over and we'll talk, because I'm now interested in the blackbird business. You know, this is all about being very direct, and that directness can seem obsessive because there's nothing else here. You know, it's focused, it's honest, you know, it's very honest in that one transformation that this person wants to bring about. The indifference possible when guided by instinctive memory. This is saying that you already really know the type, you know, so why mess about? Let's just get in there, put it straight to them, you know, done. Or, you know, when a change comes, and this is all about transformation, they can go back to the very thing that they rejected, being very honest and being seen for being very honest. The grounding in the fourth line of gate 24 up there in the Ajna, and this is called the Hermit, which is actually a major keynote for the second line, of course. And yet the fourth line, they can suffer from people fatigue. They can need to withdraw. All of that networking, being friendly, dealing with that ego, keeping it in line, can be exhausting. Perhaps the 24-4 is grounding the 24 for the 44-4 by giving it some space, by supporting it in its withdrawal. And of course, the 44 is tribal. It likes a bit of support, likes a lot of support. The moon is still in gate 43. It's been there since 7:19 this morning. It moves into gate 14 at 18:28. This is the sacral gate of power skills, possession in great measure. This is the fuel for the direction of the whole vehicle. Gate 14 can bring a lot of power, a lot of resources. It can couple grace with control. The Sphinx is the cross of direction. All the gates in the G center, the center for love, identity, and direction. There is the 7 and the 1 and the 13. They are across the top of the G center. And then right in the middle at the bottom is gate 2. And that is the seat of the driver. Of course, it's where the magnetic monopole is. The other 4 gates in the G center are the vessel of love. But here, this is the Sphinx. So this configuration, if you think about it, looks a little bit like a trident. I mean, you've got the 3 at the top and then the 1 down the bottom. Yeah. If you extend that 2 down, you come to gate 14. It's at the other end of the channel to the 2. This is where we find the fuel that can really empower the direction of the Sphinx. Gate 34 is next. The moon transits in at 5:34 tomorrow morning, and it meets Mercury, which transits into the 34 at 21:26. This is the gate of power. There's a lot of power going on here. We have the focus of the moon on it, the lens that we're looking at it through, and we also have what people are talking about, power. It's a real display of power, but it tells us above the lines that power is only great when its display or use serves the common good. It's an interesting time for Mercury to be here with the elections coming up in the US. You know, a lot of people are talking about power right now. So that's us. That's the 4th line. I'll be back tomorrow with the 5th line. And until then, yeah, I'm really enjoying this gate. I hope you're enjoying this gate. I will still be glad when it's finished and we move on and out into the quarter of mutation. I like the quarter of mutation. It's my quarter of mutation. When I say it's my quarter, it means my personality sun hangs out in the quarter of mutation. And yeah, bit of death, bit of transformation, bit of mutation. I am going now. I will see you tomorrow. I'm going to try and go gently myself, but I pass that on to you too. Bye-bye.